Dorothy Eady's story begins like something out of a fairy tale, a narrative woven with threads of destiny and otherworldly connections. Her tale is one that defies the ordinary, blending the mystical with the historical. In 1904, in the suburbs of London, a seemingly ordinary toddler took a tumble. Little Dorothy, just 3 years old, fell down a flight of stairs. It was a moment that seemed trivial at first, a common mishap in the life of a young child. This seemingly mundane accident would prove to be anything but ordinary. The fall was severe, and the impact left her lifeless, or so it seemed. In the aftermath of the fall, Dorothy's life took a sharp turn. Her parents, gripped by fear and sorrow, called for a doctor. She was declared dead by the attending doctor, only to miraculously awaken an hour later. This astonishing recovery left everyone in shock and disbelief. This brush with death marked a turning point, for Dorothy was never quite the same. Her parents noticed subtle changes in her demeanor and behavior. The once quiet child transformed, becoming increasingly spirited and exhibiting behaviors that puzzled those around her. She seemed to possess an energy and awareness beyond her years. One of the most striking changes was Dorothy's burgeoning fascination with all things Egyptian. It was as if she had unlocked a hidden part of her soul. This newfound interest was as sudden as it was intense. She would spend hours engrossed in books of ancient Egypt, her young mind captivated by the mysteries of a bygone era. It manifested in peculiar ways, with Dorothy rejecting her English upbringing and insisting she belonged in Egypt. She spoke of memories and places she had never seen in this life. She would spend hours poring over images of ancient Egyptian temples and artifacts, her young mind captivated by a world long gone. Her parents were both amazed and concerned by her intense focus. This early incident, a child's fall and miraculous recovery, set in motion a chain of events that would shape Dorothy's life. It was as if the accident had jolted loose a hidden part of her soul, awakening memories of a past life and a deep-seated longing for a distant homeland. This awakening would guide her throughout her life. This yearning for Egypt would only grow stronger with time, guiding Dorothy on an extraordinary journey of self-discovery and historical revelation. Her story is a testament to the mysteries of the human soul and the uncharted territories of memory and identity. In today's episode, we will be looking into the mysterious reincarnation of Dorothy Eady. Dorothy's fascination with ancient Egypt was not merely a passing childhood fancy. From a very young age, she was captivated by the mysteries of the ancient world, particularly the enigmatic civilization along the Nile. It was an all-consuming passion that deepened with every passing year. As she grew older, her room transformed into a mini-museum filled with replicas of Egyptian artifacts and posters of pyramids and pharaohs. Her parents, though perplexed by their daughter's unusual interest, nurtured her curiosity. They were amazed by her dedication and the depth of her knowledge, which often surpassed that of her teachers. They purchased books about ancient Egypt, filling their home with images of pharaohs, pyramids, and hieroglyphs. Family discussions often revolved around the latest discoveries and theories about ancient Egyptian culture. When Dorothy was 14, her parents took her on a life-altering trip to the British Museum. This was not just a visit, it was a pilgrimage to the heart of her passion. Stepping into the museum's Egyptian exhibit was a pivotal moment for Dorothy. The grandeur of the artifacts and the aura of ancient history enveloped her as she walked through the halls. It was as if she had stepped into a familiar embrace, surrounded by the echoes of a forgotten lifetime. The statues, the mummies, the hieroglyphs, they all seemed to whisper secrets only she could understand. She reacted with a familiarity that startled her parents and onlookers alike. Her excitement was palpable, and her knowledge of the artifacts was astonishing. Dorothy ran through the halls, excitedly pointing out artifacts and calling them by their Egyptian names. It was as if she had been there before, in another time, another life. She kissed the feet of statues, tears streaming down her face, whispering greetings in a language she did not consciously understand. The connection she felt was profound and inexplicable. The experience was overwhelming. It was as if she had found a piece of herself that had been missing. The visit to the British Museum solidified Dorothy's conviction that she belonged in Egypt. It was a revelation that guided her future choices and aspirations. She felt an inexplicable connection to the artifacts, the hieroglyphs, the very air of ancient Egypt that seemed to emanate from the exhibits. Each artifact told a story that resonated deeply within her. This was not a hobby, it was a calling, and she was ready to dedicate her life to this pursuit. Dorothy's teenage years were a tumultuous blend of ordinary adolescent struggles and extraordinary experiences that defied explanation. She grappled with the typical challenges of youth while simultaneously navigating a spiritual awakening that set her apart from her peers. Her connection to ancient Egypt deepened, manifesting in vivid dreams that seemed more real than waking life. In her dreams, Dorothy found herself transported to a distant past, walking amidst the splendor of ancient Egypt. These dreams were not mere flights of fancy. They were visceral, emotionally charged experiences that left an indelible mark on Dorothy's psyche. These experiences created a chasm between Dorothy and her family and peers. Her pronouncements about past lives and her insistence on following ancient Egyptian spiritual practices were met with skepticism and concern. She felt like an outsider, a stranger in her own life, torn between the world she knew and the world that beckoned from afar. Despite the challenges, Dorothy remained steadfast in her beliefs. She devoured every book she could find about ancient Egypt, teaching herself to read hieroglyphs. The more she learned, the more certain she became that her destiny lay in the land of the pharaohs. Journey to the land of Ra, marriage, motherhood, and life in a new land. In 1931, at the age of 27, Dorothy took a leap of faith. She left behind the familiar streets of London, the comfort of her family, and the predictability of her life to embrace the unknown. She married an Egyptian man named Eman Abdel Masoud and embarked on a new chapter in her life in Cairo. The bustling streets, the vibrant markets, and the rich tapestry of Egyptian culture were now her new reality. This move was the culmination of a lifelong dream, a chance to finally immerse herself in the land that had haunted her thoughts since childhood. The pyramids, the Nile, and the ancient temples were no longer just images in books. They were now part of her daily life. Yet life in Egypt was not without its challenges. The cultural differences were stark, and the language barrier often left her feeling isolated. Dorothy embraced her new home with open arms, eager to experience Egyptian culture firsthand. She learned the language, adapted to the customs, and found joy in the everyday interactions with the locals. She gave birth to a son whom she named Seti, a constant reminder of her connection to ancient Egypt. Seti became the center of her world, and she was determined to give him a life filled with love and knowledge of his rich heritage. However, the marriage proved to be a difficult one, marked by cultural differences and personal struggles. The initial excitement gave way to the harsh realities of their differing backgrounds and expectations. Despite the personal difficulties, Dorothy persevered. She was resilient, finding strength in her passion for Egypt and her love for her son. She found work at the Department of Antiquities in Cairo, a position that allowed her to be close to the artifacts and historical sites she held dear. This job was more than just employment, it was a fulfillment of her dreams. She spent hours studying ancient texts, her knowledge of hieroglyphs proving invaluable to her work. Her dedication and expertise earned her respect among her peers. She was determined to create a life for herself and her son in the land she considered her spiritual home. Every day was a new adventure, a new opportunity to learn and grow. Her passion for ancient Egypt burned brighter than ever, fueled by her proximity to the very heart of this ancient civilization. Dorothy's journey was not just about living in a new land, it was about finding herself and fulfilling her destiny. Seti is born embracing an Egyptian identity. As Dorothy delved deeper into Egyptian culture and society, she underwent a profound personal transformation. She adopted the Arabic name Seti, which means Mother of Seti, a testament to her deep love for her son and her growing identification with her adopted homeland. This name change was more than just a formality. It was a symbolic shedding of her old identity and a full embrace of her Egyptian self. She spoke of ancient Egypt in the present tense, referring to pharaohs and priests as if they were contemporaries. Her behavior, though unconventional, was not born out of delusion. Seti possessed an uncanny ability to connect with the past, to tap into a wellspring of knowledge that seemed to flow through her. She would often experience sudden insights, flashes of intuition that led to remarkable discoveries about ancient Egyptian life and history. Seti's transformation into an Egyptian woman was complete. She dressed in traditional Egyptian clothing, embraced local customs, and spoke Arabic fluently. She had found her place, her people, her purpose. She was home. This concludes today's episode of the Paranormal Report. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. It is due to your continued viewership and support that we are able to bring you interesting and informative videos like this. The team here at the Paranormal Report really appreciates your support.